Hey, AfterBuzzers! Welcome to the Saturday Night Live After Show. We are going to be talking about the Matt Damon episode with musical guests Miley, Cyrus, and Mark Ronson. We had some big cameos in this episode. We had a really great update bit that I'm excited to talk about. We're going to break down an anatomy of a sketch where we really deep dive into one sketch, and then we'll go through all the other sketches, get into some news and gossip, so stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
You were on the phone last night, we live and die by pretty lies, you know it.
I want to know how Miley, I don't know Miley, how you kept that shirt contained.
That is the mystery of the night.
I couldn't even focus on the song because I'm like, that's amazing.
The whole time just staring at her. Understandably. Well, welcome, guys. Welcome back to Saturday Night Live AfterBuzz. Kelly, we are missing her tonight, but we will see her after the new year. Last show before the new year.
Yeah.
Craziness. But I'm here with this lovely lady.
Hey guys, I'm Steph. Happy to be here and talk about Matt Damon.
Yeah. Did you? And I'm Amy Maestri. That's my name. I will intro myself as well. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure to chat us during the show. We'll be checking in on the live chat. Make sure to comment afterwards if you have any thoughts on the show. Steph, thoughts going into? Did you have any high expectations, low expectations?
It was actually interesting because Matt Damon covered exactly what I was thinking. What is he promoting? So I was glad to find that out quickly that it was nothing. And we'll get into the cold open. I mean, his monologue, which I adored. But I knew he was going to be good. I thought he was going to bring the Kavanaugh back, which we saw. And he's always been a great guest when he ever does anything. I know he hasn't hosted in a while, so I was curious to see how he would do. But I knew he would do great.
I was very surprised. I didn't realize it had been that long since he hosted,
Same.
because he does make appearances every once in a while, so you forget. But he's always so fun. Like, I just feel like he's probably one of those guests that goes in and he's just like, I'm game for whatever.
Yeah.
Throw me whatever you want to, and I'm going to do it. I was a little bummed that we didn't see Miley in a sketch, because she tends to jump in.
I think I said last episode that I thought for sure she would.
Yeah.
And I'm confused that she didn't.
I haven't seen anything yet, like, for the Cut for Time sketches, but I wonder if there's, like, anything that she did as, like, a digital short that maybe didn't make it or what. But I was really shocked by the end that there wasn't anything with her.
Me too.
And kind of let down, too, because I like her.
Same, because I also want to know, like, where's she at mentally right now? Like, what phase of Miley are we getting? And usually an SNL sketch will do just that, but we didn't get it.
That's fair. So I know you mentioned the cold open. Let's just go ahead and jump right in. So kind of a Christmas / Trump themed opening with trying to figure out what would happen if Trump was never president.
Loved. I love this. I thought it was a really great cold open. It made sense, and then they brought it back to reality, and it gave every person that came into it, all the guest appearances that we've had, that we've seen with Cohen, with who else did we have?
Yes, we had Ben Stiller coming as Cohen. We had De Niro coming as Mueller. Yeah,
other than Mueller. But it was really good. It was a really great premise. I love the Melania twist of her being like, oh, actually, when I separated my ties with you, they said, well, my psychiatrist said that you actually were making my English worse.
Yeah.
Which makes total sense. Like, you are the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself most with. So if you're literally hanging out with an illiterate coward such as Trump, it would make complete sense that you can't speak English well.
Sad. Exclamation mark on everything. Yeah, I thought this was great because so often this is the format that they do where it's like Trump is going to talk and then their little guests will come in and out. But I thought like having something different with this one, kind of tying in a theme to it, just made it instantly so much better. It wasn't as lazy as it usually is, I think.
And I thought it was smart writing too, because we are, now that we're finding more about this investigation and this gang of criminals that we have sitting in the White House, we have found out a lot of the motives behind the whole Russia ties, and it what we think happened is that Trump didn't enter the election with hopes of winning at all. It was kind of like a ploy with him working this Russia Trump Tower whole business deal. So the way they intertwined that storyline, as well as all the damage he's done and wouldn't have done if he wasn't president, was great.
Jokes on us.
Yeah. But we're still living it.
But yeah, so when we were mentioning cameos too, so yeah, Ben Stiller coming back as Cohen, obviously Matt Damon coming in and doing Kavanaugh, which is always great. It's so funny when De Niro comes in to do Robert Mueller, because Robert De Niro is one of the greatest actors of all time and one of the literal worst sketch actors of all time.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And he will continuously, and I still am a part of this, will get a standing ovation when he steps on the SNL screen. I know he's going to fail me, but I am blessed to have him on my screen.
I also think it's partially like people are like, oh my gosh, I love De Niro. And also like anyone who's just depicting Mueller now, people are just like, yes, I love you.
Yeah, like, thank you, Mueller. Like, we know you've lost your entire livelihood for this case, but America loves you for it, and you're really salvaging whatever is left to salvage.
Well said. Well said. Another kiss to the air.
Roller Coaster Rider in the chat. What's up? It says, Steph, you and Amy are huge stars. Thank you, with our huge hands.
Hey, huge. Thank you, Roller Coaster Rider. You're huge. We're just gonna talk like Trump the entire rest of this episode. You're welcome. All right, so let's go into the monologue. You mentioned that you really like this.
Yeah, I did, because I think you have to play to your skill set when you're doing the monologues, and a lot of times people try to be funny and they're not, or they'll do the song if it's like Lin-Manuel and that makes sense for him as a host. But Matt Damon, he does play funny roles, but he's not a comedian. And I think this was so awesome because I love the people like Jason Momoa is like this as well, where they just have this love for SNL. And it just reminds you of how legendary the show has been and is and forever will be, and all that it's provided people, and especially that generation and the older generation like my parents. It meant so much to them, and to have this be the year and some odd days of his dad's death anniversary and his kid being 8, it was just a really touching and well done monologue that, even though you weren't laughing throughout the whole thing, there was good punchlines when it could have been added, and I just thought it was really sentimental and sweet.
Yeah. I thought it was terrible.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God, I love when you have controversy. Bring it to me, Amy. Bring it.
No, I think that they could have done a better job of punching it up a little bit, because I think that's what makes stand-up or different monologues really special, is when you can take a sentimental story like that and find those ways to like insert a little bit more humor into it. I thought it was a great story. I did want to see a little bit more humor put into it and a couple little extra jokes in there. But he's just so likable when he's talking about it, and like you said, like him and Jason Momoa are both the same, that they both just love the show so much, and you just know how excited they are to be there, so that gets you excited for the episode too.
You always have these points where I'm like, damn, she's right. And this is why I'm like, Lauren, if I had your number, I would call you every single day until you got Amy in the writer's room. Just saying.
Someone get Steph Lauren's number. Where's the holdup? Roller Coaster Rider, jump on this. So let's we're gonna save the Daddy Show, the Westminster Daddy Show, for the end. We're gonna break that down in the anatomy of a sketch. So let's jump over that for right now and go into the first digital sketch of the night. Best Christmas Ever.
Oh yes.
So an absolutely awful Christmas, but you know what? They're having wine. They're kicking back at the end of the night. They're going to talk about how much they loved it.
What a good duo Cecily and Matt Damon are. Right? Truly, they have so much chemistry, and like a very it's like they're like family members. It really seems like that. Yeah. But I thought this was funny because this is literally how parents, including mine, act. I think best Christmas ever, somewhere like those. We're so blessed, but if you really recount the day, you're like, yikes. Yeah. What happened? And especially nowadays, this particular story reminds me of my roommate. What's up, Emily? Her family's from Fresno, and they have a lot of like the closet, or not so closet racists and homophobes in the family. And so like every time they get together, they have to have these conversations, and we call her PC because she is politically correct.
Okay.
And we'll correct you on site, but it must be exhausting. But they did a really good job of taking that idea and making it really funny.
Yeah, no, agreed. And shout out to Emily and her racist family.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
We hate you.
But no, I think, yeah, that sums it up so well that like parents, they try to be like, yeah, it was all great. It was all just perfect. Because like at the end of the day, they're like, we're around family. It was all lovely. I thought it was cut together so well. I think this is an idea that they've used before in different ways of like, you know, kind of the parents or someone kind of like thinking back on a day and reflecting later and saying how great it was when it really wasn't. But the way that they cut it together, and yeah, the chemistry between Matt and Cecily were all just so on point. The specifics of like, you know, the toy house and like, I hope it didn't take you too long, and him just like kicking it all down, right up to, yeah, the racist cousin, Mikey, yelling that you hate whites, you're racist against whites, was all very lovely. Not that he thought that people were racist against whites. That wasn't lovely.
No, and I love that excuse. Wait, I have a question. And Roller Coaster Writer just brought this to my attention. He said, Amy, I would have liked it better if it was Keenan's last episode instead of Beck's. Is that seriously Beck's last episode?
I don't think so.
Can we get a confirmation on that? Like,
as far as I know, but I agree with you, Roller Coaster Writer. We are long overdue, so I'm ready for that. I don't believe so. I had heard rumors about him possibly at the end of this season, but I don't think it's anything that would be happening now. And I would hope not either, because I'd like to see a better send-off for him, too.
yeah, I would be very upset if that was the send-up. I thought that was just a joke.
Yeah.
I'll have to confirm that.
Yeah, we'll double check and find out, because that would be sad if it was and he didn't get a better send-off.
Yeah.
Although when Keenan goes, we're going to have a huge send-off on this show.
We're popping bottles!
So another Christmas sketch, which actually I'm just going to go a little off topic right now, too, with the monologue. I was kind of bummed. There were so many Christmas sketches. I love a good, crazy musical number.
Oh, yes.
Like the last Christmas, you know, like the last episode of the year for Christmas. I like a good, whether it's like going out into the audience or going backstage or just like a group ensemble thing. We got the girls singing a couple weeks ago for the Mueller All I Want for Christmas, and that was kind of it. But I was a little bummed that we didn't get something like that, because that's always fun to see for the last show of the year.
Yeah, I agree.
But next Christmas sketch was all the reject ornaments that get pushed to the back of the tree. What'd you think of this one?
I love Cecily stole the show.
So
I mean,
creepy.
the idea of which happens to us all of us having these cracked ornaments, and then the life being so, like, she was never the same. Like, it was just such a funny idea, and I have so many cracked ornaments that I refuse to throw away because there's some sort of sentimental value.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I'm too poor to have a tree right now, so I can't personally relate, but this made me feel like this would have been my tree.
That's so perfect. That's funny, because when me and my roommate, shout out Marnie, we're decorating our tree, we were saying how like we like all of our ornaments, but like a lot of the random ones, you know, that you accumulate over the years are at our parents' house or something. So we were like, well, none of these are that weird or like funny. They're just like ornaments, but whatever.
It's all like Michael's like matching set.
Yeah.
Because that's what we can get.
But I loved, I think Cecily and 80 as Barb.
Oh God, 80. What was she? Macaroni poop or
Macaroni turd.
macaroni turd?
Barb is
She's like,
dead.
call me what I am.
Her intensity as Barb. I just want to watch Barb all day.
That should have been a standalone sketch. I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah, Barb won the day for me. But yeah, the creepiness of Cecily just singing and then like going into like whispers every once in a while, terrifying.
So terrifying.
I also enjoyed the joke about how on the back of the Good Will Hunting ornament it says "Happy Holidays" from the Weinstein Company.
Oh God, yeah.
I like that they even find a way to get a jab right in there.
It's the details, baby.
So I thought this was fun. It's they love to. I feel like they love to do stuff like this around the holidays too. Whether it's like they make the miniature to be elves, like in the Jason Momoa episode, or like they've always done that kind of stuff. So I feel like they get a little bit more playful with like their aesthetics of what the sketches are doing around the holidays too. All right. Next, we have the new Oscar host, the search for the new Oscar host, because our buddy Kevin Hart is an idiot.
Yep.
So yeah, this is I love that they haven't done one of these in a while where they just use one of these sketches as a vehicle basically to showcase impressions. And I was kind of as soon as I saw that I was like, oh good, we haven't gotten one of these in a while. What were some of your favorite impressions?
I completely agree. I love these, and I think that they're why not implement them more?
Yeah.
My favorites were I thought everyone was very strong, Kenan included in these actually. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I thought, first of all, if you guys aren't watching that show, watch it now. That impression was amazing.
I lost it. I rewound it a couple times and just closed my eyes to listen to it. And it's so spot on the way that Rachel Brosnahan takes those pauses, and she's very nervous and very Jewish about everything.
And confident at the same time. It was so good. Sarah Silverman.
Yeah.
I mean, but we know Via Senor, she's always going to kill her impression. So I actually wanted more of her. Michelle Wolf, amazing. I closed my eyes on that one. Spot on.
That is a hard impression to nail.
Yeah.
And she crushed it.
Right?
Kate's ridiculous. She's
That
not
was
real.
so good, and I love Michelle Wolf, and she did that. The lines were written just well for Michelle Wolf as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Michael Strahan, I thought was amazing by Kenan. I really thought that was a good one, and it actually had a funny punchline. And then Kanye West and Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. Yeah, they were all great. The other one that I loved was Heidi's Allison Janney.
Oh,
The way that she just elongates everything and just really cracks herself up. I just absolutely, I thought Heidi crushed that.
I absolutely.
But yeah, it's with such a strong cast right now on impressions. Oh, and Ego, Tiffany Haddish.
Oh yeah, we saw more of her this episode in general, which
Yeah.
I loved. I hope we see even more in the new season.
For sure.
And new year.
For sure, agreed. I was pretty blown away by by Matt Damon's Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, what?
I was like, damn.
Because his first one, I was like, that's a stretch. No one can do Chris Hemsworth. That's Thor we're talking about. Or have some respect. Put some respect on his name. But Matthew McConaughey, dang.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was really impressive. And then so next we have the Carnegie Hall Christmas.
Oh,
So we have Cecily and Matt again paired up for this duo. I loved Matt as like the saucy little sidekick.
Yeah, I love that they were actually paired up twice. I was thinking that, and he was also paired up with Heidi. Okay, so
Yeah.
he played well with each of the women. So, and I thought that was a great choice by the SNL writers. I think he played better with the women of SNL than with the men. But I liked this sketch. It wasn't one of my favorites. I thought there was some missing parts for me, but it was enjoyable.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because you were mentioning like him being paired up so much better with the women in this one. I was thinking the same last week, which I know I had to miss the after show, but Jason Momoa and Mikey Day are like best buds. Like they worked so well together. Yeah. And I feel like, yeah, Matt, it's nice when you can see that with a host and either one or two cast members where you see like, oh wow, there's like an instant, like really good on-screen chemistry for them.
And I like that because it's like you guys took the time to write to what the chemistry was.
Exactly, yeah. I think that this sketch was solely performance driven. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel like this was a sketch that like Gilda Radner is up there somewhere going like, good job, Cecily. Good job. Because that was impressive what she was doing in that. With staying on beat with everything and just singing so quickly and then changing the words in the end. And just, I thought she delivered an incredible performance in this. Not a huge fan of the sketch overall, but the two of them together were really fun to watch, I thought.
Roller Coaster Rider said, I dare you two to sing as fast as Cecily.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
And that is true about Radner. Gilda, I think she would have loved this sketch, actually, and they stayed on cue so well.
Yeah. Yeah, the timing of it, because that's a tough sketch with, like, the pacing on it. If she starts to stumble at all or the pacing slows down at any point, or even not slows down, but it just gets kind of a little off beat, it completely will ruin an entire sketch. So
I love the part when they're like, because we were never friends anyways. That's how me and Amy are.
We actually hate each other when we're not on camera.
Hate.
I'm usually the one in the mustache in the background just playing piano and being
It's
saucy.
telling me to close the door.
Close the door. Mischievous. Guys, we have a terrible time doing this show together, if you can't tell.
I mean, it's
Awful.
the worst.
Let's talk about musical guests, Miley, Cyrus, and Mark Ronson. I know we were talking before we went on air about them. I didn't even realize that they were doing, like, that they were working on stuff together.
Same.
Cool duo, though.
Yeah, really cool. Like I said, I'm so intrigued with what Miley we have today. As she switches so much, as we all should keep transforming into whatever we feel like, because it's your life, live it. But I am still. What kind of tape was she using on that jacket?
That, I mean, really impressive. I can only imagine, like,
Because she was comfortable moving. Like
moved
she
a lot,
knew,
yeah.
like they had to have something that was so solid.
oh yeah. I'm sure, like, all the people, like, in the booth at SNL were just, like, terrified the entire time, just, like, ready to cut away at any
Janet
second.
Jackson, no, Super Bowl.
They saw that outfit and just went, oh, no.
I will say I am always I don't know why I am always, but I am always surprised about how solid and enjoyable and lovely her voice is.
She is incredible.
Yeah.
And that's why when she went through all that stuff and just kind of, like, went completely off the rails, I gotta say, I don't know if it was her PR team, or what, but when one of her first performances back was SNL.
Yep.
It was a stripped down version of Wrecking Ball.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God, that's right. This crazy girl has one of the best voices ever.
I love that you said that, because that was exactly my come-to moment where I was like, oh yeah, she can actually sing. Like, she's not one of those lip singers or like child singers that phased out. She actually has a great voice when she's pure with it.
Yeah.
And I think she's in a genre now that is her.
Yeah, and I loved the first song. It's catchy, but I like that she did the Christmas song for the second one, just to have a little of both. And the pairing between her and Mark Ronson, like, the music was so good. Like, it was just nice getting to hear her vocals backed with, like, actual, like, legit music too.
Agreed.
And not having it just be like electric pop or whatever. Like, I think this, like you said, this genre really, I think, suits her right now. Cool.
Kind of like Lady Gaga-esque right now, but obviously Lady Gaga's in a league of her own.
Yeah, there's really no
I
comparison.
shouldn't have even said that, but I was just thinking of like her newest album, that kind of country meets pop.
That's true. Yeah, actually, like, style wise, I think that they are pretty similar right now.
Joanne.
Yeah. Don't worry, we'll forgive you for putting
I'm
Lady Gaga on the same
Lady
tier as
Gaga,
anyone.
bless. Another.
Whoa, got a fourth one in there.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
Lady Gaga.
Wow, Lady Gaga. You know you're in the big time. You get 4 of those from Steph. Weekend update. Let's talk about the boys.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I read a lot of different views the past few weeks that they've thought Colin Jost was struggling a little bit, which I never think that they struggle that much. I think that sometimes they're not hitting as much punchlines, but they're also giving you the news. So it really depends on what the week's giving them as well. I thought they did such a good job of making everything like a big metaphor, and you doing what news comedy should do is make you look at it in a way where you're like, oh yeah, you're actually right. The fact that the president doesn't know the law is a problem.
Yes. And I think that's fair, where some people are thinking that Jost might be kind of like struggling a little bit, but I think it's just they have such different styles, which I think is why they're so good together. Whereas Jost is kind of more just like his delivery on jokes is so spot on, whereas Che likes to kind of go off. And so sometimes it might seem like I feel like he's the stronger one because he's doing more of that stuff, but it's just a different style. And yeah, in this one, I absolutely loved his rant on the president needing to know the law.
Yeah.
And the fact that he couldn't get out, like, off of it. He had to just keep coming back to it. Like, no, really though.
The way Michael Che's confidence in his comedy is so inspiring to watch, because any other person doing a joke where you're like calling back to your joke just to reinforce something or like think about it while you're going, it's really hard to do.
Yeah.
And it's so funny when he does it every single time. He's like, but I just can't, like, and you're thinking the same thing. You're like, you're right. I just can't, I don't understand.
Yeah. Before we get into the two segments and then also the joke segment at the end, which I loved, so we'll save that. Did you have any standout jokes other than that one?
That was it.
Okay. I love, just because I like the random like ones that they toss in there to kind of take it away from politics or anything, that if you still want to see raunchy puppets, you can head to Times Square and watch Elmo kick a pigeon.
Yes.
And I also love that Joe's just cracked himself up at the end of that one. Because that Elmo is a real jackass.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
So I like when they kind of balance it out with just some silly humor like that. So then the two segments we had, Where's Wes? Travel segment.
Yes.
Like, as soon as he was saying, like, he's just like, you'll never know and I'll never tell. I was like, oh, he's going to tell right away.
Yeah.
But it was still funny, I thought.
I thought it was really funny.
Yeah, I think it was a nice build up and stuff. Just, again, something silly and fun. But let's just talk about Queen Heidi. Angel. I love this character so much. Mm-hmm. And I think this is a really good character that it reminds me so much of Kristen Wiig. I know we compare her to Kate and Kristen a lot. I see so much of Kristen Wiig in her, and that, like, after Kristen left SNL, she started taking on a lot of dramatic roles too. And you're just like blown away by what a good actress she is. And I feel like Heidi's the same. Like, she just commits so hard, and when she is in that role, I'm just like, I want to watch a movie about you. I want you to actually be in a movie as the boxer's girlfriend.
I agree. If you watch Heidi in any sketch while she's not talking, that's how I like to look at them when they're not the ones talking at the time. She never breaks character. She's full on in character 24/7, and we see it a lot. And this is her most dramatic character, but it just proves that she can act in anything. Yeah,
exactly. And getting to see her paired up with Matt Damon as the boyfriend, we meet Tommy. We meet good old Tommy, the runner of always just that she's always taking the kids to the sister's house. I love that his first line coming in saying, you said you were taking your kids to your sister's house. Like, even that's all she talks about.
All she talks about.
And I really have to say, one of my highlights of the whole thing with her was that he had to tell her that she's pregnant.
Oh my God. I love the revelation of him, but Roller Coaster Writer just made a good point. He said, now that they've shown her husband, how can they continue the sketch? They'll find a way, but it is true. Like, they'll have to change the premise, kind of, because a lot of it was not knowing who he was. And
yeah, that's true. I think there's still ways that they'll be able to do it, but some of the intrigue will be taken out. Or who knows? Maybe she did kind of want to retire this character, at least for a while. I hope not, though, because I love her.
She probably has so many, though.
Yeah, I feel like there's plenty. But okay, so let's just jump into the last bit, an update, which I absolutely love this idea of them telling jokes that the other person wrote for them. And
Me
the fact
too.
that Che wrote all of his for the whitest white guy ever, Colin Jost, to all be about African American culture.
Oh my gosh. It was the best part of the weekend update.
Yeah.
I love when they do this, and it's not often, but this is why they're such a good duo, because they see eye to eye in a lot, but Michael Che can just screw with Colin Jost on a level that another partner couldn't.
Yeah. Every time you saw a picture come up and Colin was just like, oh no. And when you see Rosa Parks come up on the last one, I think that might have, I'm glad they saved that one for last, because that might have been the clincher for me, and especially that he actually wrote on the cue cards, and I wrote this one. Che didn't write this one.
Yeah.
What is it? Or the punchline is, or as she's called in my family, an uppity bus customer or an uppity bus passenger. Yikes.
Oh God, so funny.
It's just such a great example of the two of them just having such a blast with everything that they do on there. All right, let's talk about the Weezer sketch. So weird.
It was so weird. You made it. What was your point when you said it? I was like, you're so right.
Yeah, it's so, I think this is probably a sketch that anyone who is like a really big Weezer fan would pick up on, like some of the smaller golden nuggets of it and like really, really love a lot of it. Whereas I think they could have done a couple things to make this one a little bit more universal for me. I still think it was really funny, but all they ended up doing was kind of yelling at each other. I wanted them to one-up it in different ways. Like, one of them to, like, rip their shirt off and there's, like, a tattoo of their favorite album, or, like, to talk about, like, how they, like, lyrics were in their vows or something, you know? Like, take it out of that context of just, like, yelling at each other about who, like, which stage of Weezer is better.
Agreed. That's such a good point. I think that they could have upped it, and also the specific, how specific they got. You were telling me if they got a little bit more vague for people who aren't necessarily Weezer fans, it could have been a little hit harder.
Yeah, I still think it was funny, and I mean, there are definitely some moments in there. Matt Damon plays Mad, so funny. So I always love when he does that. But yeah, I think they could have made it a little bit more universal. But before we get into the last few sketches of the night, I believe you have a message for AfterBuzzers.
Yes, you guys, thank you so much for being in the chat. Lauda Scion, Roller Coaster Rider, Tim Reno 72. You guys make this so fun, and thank you guys for watching. You know, our network produces after shows for nearly all of your favorite TV shows. We have drama, sci-fi, comedy, which is obviously where you found us, and more. But we're asking that you guys subscribe to our channel, and by subscribing to one or more of our channels, it gets tailor-made for you, so you'll literally get notifications, but you can also turn those notifications off because some people don't want notifications. And if you guys subscribe and let us know in the comments, we will definitely shout you out. And make sure, if you're listening to us on iTunes, hit that 5-star because the other stars don't work, and also leave a comment for us there because we check everything and we want to hear your comments on every platform.
We do.
So thanks for being a part of this and making AfterBuzz the ESPN of after shows.
Yes.
TV talk.
Yeah, definitely. Make sure you comment. Let us know what you're thinking about the episode, about anything that you'd like us to hear us talk about afterwards. Let us know. So let's jump into the last two sketches of the night. Then we'll go into our special segment and some news and gossip. So we had the cops at the bar. We had Alec Baldwin jump back in for this one. So just kind of the boys hanging out at the bar. Real quick, Kenan, just stick to an accent, Kenan.
Agreed. I was like, okay, it's going somewhere, but every time he didn't do that, it got me out, pulled me away from the sketch.
It's really frustrating. He'll start with an accent, and then within a couple lines of dialogue, he drops it. And then he'll pick it back up at some point, and then he'll drop it again. And you're right, it just takes you out of it, which really, oh man, it hurts me to watch him. But I think this one kind of missed for me because the pacing felt off to me. I don't mind a slow moving sketch, or I think there's a lot of payoff that you can have from silences or things that are a slow build, but it never had a payoff for me. You know, like there was never anything where I was like, oh, that's such a great payoff at the end, or if there's tension that was building the whole time, but like it didn't have anything like that for me. So this one kind of missed.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be kind of a more like drunk bar episode, you know, where they have Kate McKinnon. Forget the titles of those with Kenan, and it gets like pretty raunchy.
Yeah,
and it I feel the same way. It didn't really go anywhere for me, and I kept getting pulled out of the sketch. I loved the beginning of the premise. I loved all the characters in it at first, and I was excited, but I think it fell flat.
Yeah, and it is too bad because like it was I was like, oh yeah, I got the boys at the bar sketch. Like I was excited for the idea of it, and I think they kind of lost their way on it because the idea of them just kind of like always, we're ball busting with Paul, but then it just kind of would get taken away from that, and I thought that they kind of missed out on that game because I thought that was going to keep heightening, and in a way it did when Matt Damon was finally like, yeah, Beck was like, sorry about shooting your wife. Like, I guess that's kind of why she might have left you that day. And I was like, if they had just stayed on like a quick pace with everyone kind of with their own story of how they've wronged Paul, I thought that would have been funnier, and I thought that was kind of what they were going to do. But then it just kind of it would get really slow, and then I don't know, it was off for me.
Yeah.
But let's go into the last sketch of the night. Happy Christmas, Britain, with Kate. Listen, any excuse that we have to see 80 come on as Elton John, I'm in.
I feel the exact same way. I'm obsessed with 80.
Yeah.
I love her passion in roles and kind of that, I don't know how to describe it. Like the power she puts behind everything is amazing. So it wasn't my favorite sketch, but it ends up being so enjoyable because of the lineup that we have in it.
Exactly. Yeah, same. I think this was definitely an end of the night sketch that just kind of got tossed in there. But 80 as Elton is always funny because it's just her doing a British accent and walking around.
It's one of those that I'll look back at and probably find funnier like later when I'm like, it's just a funny random 80 sketch.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. All right, cool. So I know we skipped over the Westminster Daddy Show, so I'm gonna just break that down really quickly in our Anatomy of a Sketch segment, because I felt like this is a typical sketch where they use this, sketch writers will use this format a lot, whether it's for like a game show, if they want to do a fish out of water kind of thing where there's three, and two are normal, one is kind of crazy, or vice versa. So you'll see this format in a lot of different sketches, but I thought this one was great because of how random it was, and immediately you knew the game. I loved the line, a dog show, but for daddies, because that is literally all you need to know about this show. Really, really structurally well written, where you had the three beats, aka the three daddies, which ended up being the two daddies, and then the announcer coming in at the end. The specifics, I wrote down a couple of these just because, again, like we talk about specifics in comedy, and their descriptions: over the age of 46, a little salt and pepper around the temples, some play money to throw around, and a smug smile that says, "I do sex good." And the other one that I wanted to call back up is explaining the Berkeley Tweety Daddy, biking to work and being absolutely awful to waiters. So those little lines of dialogue that make it so specific and so smart to these actual characters, I thought was great. Seeing 80 in there as the judge, just being so serious, so in it, I think it flowed really well. It got to the point really quickly. You knew what was happening. Matt Damon prancing around that stage. My gosh, I will watch that all day on repeat. And then I liked the ending of it, of Kate just being like, "I don't have a name. Good night." I think this was a really, really well done sketch, and I see why it was the first of the night.
I absolutely love your special segment so much, and you always pick the perfect sketch, because I agree. I'm so glad they started with this. This is why I kind of was mentally in it for the whole episode, because it was a really strong start.
Yeah.
I think this is one that people will go back and look at.
Yeah.
And it will become a popular sketch, because the dog shows are really like a popular thing that hasn't been touched on that as much as it could have been in on SNL.
Yeah, the way that they did it was just so good, and I think this was one of Matt Damon's strongest, even though he was strong through the whole episode. And
I thought Mikey Day, it was Mikey Day in this one, right? As the pretentious one.
Oh, back and then Alex.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Alex. I love the pretentious daddy.
Oh yeah, as he was looking.
He's like,
at
I would have answered if you asked that question better, or something like that. I was like, whoa, Alex, yeah, great job.
So good, definitely. I think that was probably my favorite of the night. But let's quickly jump into some news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So it's hard not to know about the news and gossip going on within SNL, and I don't want to harp on it too much because it does have to do with mental health and our beloved Pete Davidson. Him and Ariana, as we know, have broken off their proposal, and she's just skyrocketed in her music career even more than she already has, and her fans have really gone after Pete, so much so that he actually came out with a message Saturday morning before the episode that he didn't even know if he wanted to be on Earth any longer. So it was a really serious message. It was trending #1 on Twitter. Unfortunately, I hate when someone's trending because of mental health, but it's so sad that he had to call for a cry to attention like that. And it's a hard situation because on both ends, it's like Ariana should be able to not be with someone and excel in her career, and that be fine. But on the other hand, it is her fans that have brutalized the breakup. So I'm praying for Pete. He did show face. He's obviously safe and healthy, and I'm sure the SNL family has his back. So we all have to be careful with our words, you guys. Just because you're on the internet and you might have no icon because you're a coward, you guys should have icons if you're going to troll people.
Yeah. Exactly. Well said. Well said. Yeah, I think, everyone's kind of rallying around Pete right now, which is awesome. And I know we're definitely thinking about him. So hopefully the trolls will just put it to rest. And like you said, just be kind.
And I want to say on a positive note, Pete Davidson has been killing it this year on SNL.
Yeah.
I think he has such a strong comedy career ahead of him. So I hope that he takes this, as most comedies do, take tragedy and run with it in the best possible way. I hope he does that.
Yes. Well said. Steph, bringing the truth right now. Well, the time has come. Gonna wrap up the episode right now. We have last show of the season. We're gonna be back in January
Of the year.
Same thing.
Everyone's like, what? SNL's the longest season of any show ever.
We're done now. Anyways, Steph, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Steph Sabraw. We can still chat until next episode.
Definitely. Same here. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Amy Maestri. We will see you guys next year.
Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.